bridging the gap between traditional finance and the digital asset space. The goal is to help you understand what's moving markets and educate you on how crypto is changing the financial landscape. Welcome to Wall Street Huddle. Welcome to another episode of Wall Street Huddle, where I break down major crypto projects and news in the digital asset space, as well as cover the macro factors moving traditional financial markets. And today, I want to talk about a platform that has me incredibly excited about the future of alternative assets, and that is Ctrl Alt. So what I'd like to do today is break down what Ctrl Alt is, give you some background on the team, how investors are currently using this platform, and finally, my closing thoughts. So before we dive into it though, if you enjoy the content today, please feel free to give it a like and to subscribe. It really helps the channel as well as my goal to promote up-and-coming blockchain projects. Also, if you have any projects that you'd like me to review, please drop a comment and we'll cover it in the next few weeks ahead. So let's dive in here and cover what Ctrl Alt is, give you a little background on that. So the idea behind Ctrl Alt is it's a blockchain-based platform specifically utilizing Algorand, which allows you to invest in fractions of alternative investments. This has historically been an asset class reserved for only the very wealthy. And this team has been working for over 3 years now, building the technology, but also developing the regulatory framework to launch a complex investment platform such as this. And really that's the key there, working with regulators to make this platform possible for everyday investors. So before I go any further, I want to take a step back and go over what an alternative investment is, as well as why it's important to you to have access to this space. Now, typically, anything outside of traditional stocks or bonds is considered an alternative investment. So think of things like private equity, which is essentially an investment in a privately held company, not traded on a public exchange. You have things like hedge funds, which are actively using portfolio management to beat the market, and even things like real estate, a luxury watch collection, even cryptocurrency would fall into that category of an alternative investment. Now, the real question here is, why should you care as an investor about alternative investments? And this is a study released by the Charter Alternative Investment Analyst Association, or CAIA. It's comparing 21 years of returns of private equity versus public equity markets. And what you'll see is a significant outperformance in private equity. Over a 21-year time period, from 2000 to 2021, private equity markets have an annualized rate of return of 11% versus public stocks at 6.9%. And returns are great and all, but what I like to do is give you some perspective on what that looks like in dollar terms. Now, of course, historical performance is never indicative of future returns. But to give you an idea, if you started off with $1,000 in 2000, assuming a 6.9% rate of return, over 21 years, that 4x's, a little over 4x's to $4,060. With that same $1,000 investment, assuming 11% rate of return over 21 years, that 1,000 turns into almost $9,000. You more than double the performance of public markets. So, of course, you'll never put all of your money into private equity, but it shows you the power of having exposure to this market, which, again, it hasn't been available to most everyday investors. There's a credited status in the U.S. where you need to have more than $1 million in assets to be able to invest in this space. A lot of rules around this space, but Ctrl Alt is really looking to break down the walls. Now that we covered why you should invest, the background on Ctrl Alt, let's go over the team itself that has put this incredible platform together. So Matt Ong is the CEO and founder. He has experience with Credit Suisse and Morgan Stanley with a focus on trading solutions and structured products. So he has a background in the alternative asset space for some of the largest banks on Wall Street. And then you have Jordan McMullen, Chief Operating Officer. He was a risk manager at Morgan Stanley. You have Jack Spargo, which is Chief Technology Officer. He was the founder of his own company called Grazi, which was a contactless tipping solution, which was acquired by StrikePay. And then you have L. Ward, which is the Chief Marketing Officer former CMO at Kogo, which was focused on individuals and businesses, helping them strategically reduce their carbon footprint. So if you look at this team overall, a lot of experience in traditional finance, looking to bridge that gap into the blockchain space. So the next thing here is, how do you actually use Ctrl Alt, and what are the steps to kind of have access to this platform? So they have an application that's available for download on the Apple App Store and on Google Play. And traditionally, with alternative investments, there is a high capital commitment or initial investment to get access to this space. But because of how they're structured, they're able to allow investors to invest with as little as 10 currently Great British pounds in the alternative asset space. How it works is they tokenize the alternative investment. And these tokens are classified as security tokens. They're regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority in the UK, basically the SEC, but the UK's version. And all of these assets are independently valued. So whether it's a watch collection that you're looking to break into, they'll have an independent appraisal, and it'll be updated when you open the app. You'll see your portfolio value updated based off the appraised value of those assets. One thing to keep in mind with alternative assets, typically they're not very liquid, which means you can't easily buy and sell in and out of these positions like you can with traditional crypto or stocks. Because of that, because of that illiquidity, that's why you see these outsized returns, because you have that risk there with not being able to easily buy and sell. Now, Ctrl Alt, they have a unique feature where investors can vote, and with a majority vote in favor of selling, they can liquidate a position. So there are certain features in there, but just one thing to keep in mind, alternative investments typically aren't very liquid. And now the final thing that you may be asking is, how is this all possible? And this is all possible by utilizing blockchain technology. And again, Algorand is the backbone behind this project. The reason for Algorand, it's incredibly scalable with transactions of up to 10,000 transactions per second. It's incredibly low cost to transact on the platform and very secure. So again, another real world use case on Algorand's blockchain. Again, we'll be continuing with that theme for the next few weeks. But this is a project I'm incredibly excited about. So in closing, I love the concept of opening up the alternative asset space to everyday investors. It's a real shame that we have accredited investor status in the US, pretty much blocking out private equity and hedge funds and most of the alternative asset space to the ultra wealthy here in the US. Hopefully over the coming years, we see the SEC say a regulatory favorable approach to blockchain, because as you can see, this space has a lot of potential. So I'll be waiting in anticipation for Ctrl Alt's launch here in the US. But incredibly excited. I hope you enjoyed learning about Ctrl Alt. Again, if there are any projects you're excited, whether it's an Algorand or any of the other chains, please drop a comment, and I will talk to you in the next one.